Central Power and Light.
New Jersey Network News with Kent Manahan and Mark Levinson.
Good evening, I'm Kent Manahan.
And I'm Phil Bremen. Mark is on vacation.
Both sides in the threatened garbage strike have agreed to go back to the bargaining table on Monday after narrowly averting a midnight walkout. And for millions of residents in 13 North Jersey counties, Anna Garcia reports a little relief is better than none.
Residents of 13 northern and central counties will have their garbage picked up at least through the July 4th weekend. The Teamsters Local 945 contract expired at midnight. That was the deadline set for 2,800 sanitation workers to go on strike. At Governor Kane's request, the union and haulers agreed to extend the negotiations past the deadline.
We think the ability to have the parties step back away from the table for a couple of days, give them the opportunity to rethink their positions.
George Lohman, who represents 55 trash hauling companies, says both sides needed a breather.
I think it was a wise decision on the mediator's part to break off at this point before it becomes unnecessary to get hostile or to create problems that aren't there.
Continuing negotiations without a new contract contradicts the union's hardline reputation of no contract, no work. And that has not settled well with some of the rank and file.
I know a lot of people are mad. They'd rather go out on a strike and get what we should get instead of, messing around like we are now.
We have been underpaid for years.
We got screwed royally.
We consider it in our educated opinion that it would be the best interest of our rank and file to continue to be paid while they work, while we negotiate.
The two sides are far apart on the issue of money. The union has asked for a 30% pay increase over the next 3 years. And management has said so far it is willing to give a 4% increase with no raise the first year. Teamster officials say there is still the possibility of a walkout, especially if they get any indication on Monday when the talks resume that management is trying to stall. Anna Garcia, New Jersey Network News, Kearney.
Another strike did start and then was settled. Maintenance and service workers picketed outside 5 North Jersey hospitals after their contract expired at midnight. But less than 12 hours later, there was a tentative agreement, and the 4,000 workers formally adopted it this afternoon. Some went right back to work.
It is a 3-year agreement which provides for our members a substantial wage package.
The union president said his members gave up no benefits, and a hospital source said the pay increases will be 4% per year.
The long-awaited wetlands legislation has finally been signed into law. With the stroke of his pen, Governor Kane lifted the moratorium imposed on development in freshwater wetlands areas. The bill marks the end of the state's 4-year battle to preserve more than 200,000 acres of marshland, bogs, and swamps.
Just how polluted is New Jersey's shore? The state health department is going to spend $1 million to find out. Larry Stulpnagel tells us why.
On a hot day like today, paddling out or splashing in the ocean is just the ticket for some folks who want to cool off. But others won't go in because they are afraid of pollution.
The water is very dirty, and I'm afraid of I don't know what I might come out of the water with.
The health effects of swimming in the ocean was the issue at the symposium sponsored by the group Save Our Shores today. Physician and SOS co-founder Robert Dennis says he no longer swims in the ocean. Dennis believes ocean pollution is making people sick.
We are seeing acute infections. We are seeing infections of the gastrointestinal tract, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, 5 days, a ruined vacation, lost time from work, medical bills. We are seeing eye infections, conjunctivitis, ear infections.
Ocean conditions have forced the closing of several beaches this summer. Today, the health department announced a $1.1 million 2-year shore-wide study and survey that will determine the chemicals or bacteria that are in the ocean and their possible impact on swimmers.
The significance of this study really is manifold. First of all, it will allow us really the first look at the question of health effects related to ocean bathing in New Jersey. There have been studies nationwide in other locations, but never one specific to New Jersey.
Burke says as many as 10,000 people will be surveyed over the next 2 years, and by the time the study is done, New Jersey will have a better idea of what kinds of pollution could be affecting people and just how safe it really is to swim off the Jersey shore. Larry Stupnagel, New Jersey Network News, Asbury Park.
An apartment fire early this morning in Jersey City killed 2 young sisters and injured 4 others. The girl's father, Michael Fiel, had come home from work at midnight and after eating some dinner with his wife, smelled smoke. The family kitchen was engulfed in flames and Fiel was unable to save his 2 daughters in a back bedroom. Officials are investigating the possibility that the fire started with some grease in a pan.
In the daycare sex abuse trial in Newark, Kelly Michaels, the defendant, has been portrayed day after day as a fiend. But today, a much brighter picture of her emerged, and from a witness for the prosecution, Trish DeGasperis was there.
Today, the court heard about a different side of Kelly Michaels. She was described as gentle and kind and being very sensitive to children. That description came from the director of the former daycare center, the woman who hired Kelly Michaels in the fall of 1984. On the stand, Arlene Spector said that Kelly had special qualities. She had enthusiasm and just a natural ability with children. The prosecutor then asked a series of questions dealing with the schedule of the defendant at the daycare center, trying to establish that she had ample time to abuse the children. During cross-examination, defense attorney Harvey Meltzer asked if Spector ever noticed the children were distressed when with his client. She said no, and said that Michael's interaction with the children was good. And today, a twist in the story, as Gary Moylan, the attorney representing some children and parents, said one mother who was going to testify tomorrow had been rushed to the hospital with symptoms of extreme stress.
She's been very brave throughout this entire thing, and I think it just, it effectively answers the implication that somehow these parents made all this up because they certainly don't want to go through with this.
And she will not testify now?
No, she will not.
Her little boy, however, is expected to take the stand tomorrow. Trish DeGasperis, New Jersey Network News, Newark.
A nurse's aide has been found not guilty of manslaughter in the death of a 90-year-old patient at a Cherry Hill nursing home. 54-year-old Alma Wilson of Camden had claimed the 1986 death was an accident, and the jury agreed. But because of the charges, she also lost her job at the nursing home, and reportedly it has not been offered her back.
And Phil, the apparent suicide death of a patient at Ancora State Psychiatric Hospital has resulted in the suspension of 4 workers. The hanging death of an unnamed male patient Saturday brings to at least 10 the number of patients, 4 of them at Ancora, who have died under questionable circumstances at the state's 4 psychiatric institutions in the past 15 months.
When you're dealing with a psychiatric hospital, when you're dealing with patients that have, in many cases, long histories of use of psychotropic medication, long histories of tormented lives, and many come in with serious medical problems as well, and sometimes those medical problems result in the person dying.
The 27-year-old patient had no record of previous suicide attempts. The disciplinary action against the hospital employees was taken pending the outcome of an administrative hearing.
Kent soul singer Wilson Pickett was found guilty of possessing a loaded shotgun. A Bergen County Superior Court jury delivered the verdict this morning. The 46-year-old from Englewood had testified he didn't know the gun was loaded when he had it in his car. Pickett was arrested in 1984 after getting into a fight in an Englewood bar. He'll be sentenced in September and could get up to 5 years in prison.
And still to come, Somerset County residents are up in arms over a proposed landfill site.
Also, Jim with a business report, and college recruiters are out in force in Atlantic County. Those stories next.
My fish?
Yeah.
Sure.
Interested in going to school?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to keep up your grades to be on the team.
There's more to come from New Jersey Network News. Stay with us. And there's a fine evening of television to come tonight on 13. Here's a look ahead.
Citizens against a proposed landfill in Montgomery Township gave Somerset County officials an earful last night. This is what all the fuss is about. 155 acres along US 206 that the county plans to turn into a landfill. But the proposed site is near the Montgomery Township Municipal Building and more than 100 homes. Last night, some 600 concerned citizens showed up to protest at a public hearing in Somerville. There was room inside for only half of them. The Department of Environmental Protection accused Somerset County of dragging its feet, ignoring the garbage crisis more than any other county in the state. For many years, Somerset's garbage has gone to the now overloaded Edgeboro landfill in Middlesex County. Now the state has ordered Somerset to absorb its trash.
This is a facility that no one wants, including the Freeholder Board. Unfortunately, it's a facility that we must provide for because we no longer have the luxury of exporting our waste.
But the crowd was overwhelmingly opposed.
We all realize the need for a county landfill.
But not, the mayor said, not in his township.
Here are 4,000 signatures, which I would like to present to you from Montgomery Township.
Others complained that the meeting gave the appearance
that a preconceived political decision is being paraded before us this evening as a charade advertised as a public hearing.
The freeholders listened stolidly as they were accused of ignoring the potential harm to the people and the environment in a part of the county where no freeholders live. The head of the freeholders later said hired consultants had picked the site.
We kept a hands-off procedure to allow them to come up with what they felt was technically a viable site.
Mrs. Todd Whitman also insisted the final decision has not yet been made, and she promised the freeholders would try to get answers for Montgomery Township's questions starting today. Kent?
Phil, 2 suspects were arraigned today in what's being called the largest casino cheating operation ever uncovered in Atlantic City. 2 Hong Kong natives allegedly took part in an international conspiracy. 14 people were named in the state indictment. Only 3 defendants have been arrested. The group is charged with cheating at the baccarat tables at the Sands and Caesars Boardwalk Hotel casinos. The defendants won $2.7 million.
Well, we could talk about baccarat, or we could talk about the other markets. They've been pretty quiet, haven't they?
They have indeed. Some say it's the summer doldrums, others it's just the quiet before a holiday. Whatever, there was a dearth of buyers today, and the Dow gives up more ground on happily gentle volume, 157 million shares. It's been a blue chip market, and in keeping, the broad market continued its downward course, and some put it now that the burden of proof rests with the bulls at this point. The secondary showed no indication of testing that opinion today. Amex and NASDAQ indices off small fractions. If it's any consolation, some of the gurus expect better numbers tomorrow, the rule being that generally the markets close higher on the eves of holidays. The New Jersey Petroleum Council says gasoline for your 4th of July travels remains almost as inexpensive as it was a year ago, still under $1 a gallon, thanks in part to New Jersey's lowest in the nation gasoline tax. But to that, the council attaches its usual warning that if Congress doesn't take steps, U.S. dependence on foreign oil will soar. But even as the council sounds its warning, the Senate strips from its trade bill the plan to require the president to attach an import fee to foreign oil. NBC may not have accepted the Hartz Mountain proposal, but it does keep alive the prospect that it could become a New Jersey company, even Donald Trump conceding that New Jersey, in his words, has offered tremendous packages to the network. And NBC's Henry Koenigsberg tells reporters we are looking at other sites in New Jersey, and one of those, Harborside Financial Center, smack on the banks of the Hudson and just hop, skip, and a jump from Manhattan on the path. Harborside Chief Executive Charles Simberg says NBC has asked for a presentation and will receive one in the next few days. Meanwhile, Donald Trump continues to press New York officials to come up with some persuasive goodies, and CBS officials reiterate if New York has something to offer NBC, it would be a good idea if CBS got equal treatment. Like so many other banks, New Jersey's Mid-Atlantic increases its reserve for possible loan losses. The $30 million increase will raise Mid-Atlantic's total reserves to $210 million. The action will cut after-tax net by $18 million, but even so, second quarter will still show a profit. Testimony, says Mid-Atlantic CEO Robert Van Buren, to his bank's strong balance sheet and earnings momentum. At Parsippany, AIM Telephone announces further growth with the acquisition of Atlantic Telecommunications Company of Cumberland, Maine, further extending its services in the New England region. AIM sells, installs, and services telephone interconnect systems. Bastille Day is only 2 weeks off, but the word from Continental is you can hop a plane in Newark and be in Paris well ahead of time. And even now, they sip champagne and raise toasts this evening at Newark Terminal to celebrate inauguration of the service. French dignitaries joining in the festivities, to which I say, à votre santé, mes amis.
Très bien, James. What a cultural show this is. A community college in South Jersey has come up with a new, unique way to recruit minority students. Atlantic Community College is sending its students into Atlantic City's pool halls and projects to encourage high school dropouts and others to go to college. Harvey Bennett reports the program is meeting with great success.
Bobby Royal and Michelle Greer are not your typical door-to-door salesmen. They're not peddling encyclopedias or life insurance. They're selling higher education.
Hi, I'm Bobby Royal from Atlantic Community College, and we're out recruiting. I was wondering if you'd be interested in listening to some of the things that we offer at the school.
Bobby and Michelle are part of Atlantic Community College's peer recruitment program. Each week during the summer, they and several fellow students hit the projects and streets of Atlantic City, encouraging people to sign up for school.
You interested in playing ball?
How about fish?
Yeah. Sure. Interested in going to school?
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to keep up your grades to be on the team.
They are not coming to us, so we have to come to them. We go into their homes. We come out here on the block where they shop at.
The sales pitch is informal, low pressure, and delivered in English and Spanish. Those who want more information sign postcards. Many of the people on this street have never thought seriously about going to college.
Everybody, especially minorities, think it's something that's way above their heads, and it's not. Something that's affordable to some people. If not, there's always financial aid.
The peer recruitment program is part of a national trend among colleges to recruit more minority students. Last year, in the program's first year, full-time black enrollment at Atlantic Community College doubled. Recruiting is not easy work. Getting people to listen sometimes requires creativity.
A lot of times we have to go out and we have to play basketball, like anything. We have to shoot pool, you know. Sometimes you have to make little side bets with people and basically argue and horse around. And a lot of times it takes a lot of time and effort.
So far, the effort has paid big dividends. Harvey Bennett, New Jersey Network News, Atlantic City.
Well, the weather won't pay big dividends until the weekend. There were clouds across the state today, a little hazy on the Great Egg Harbor River in Mays Landing. The skies should clear by the weekend, though. Checking conditions around the state, 81 in Newark, where the high hit 90 today. Mostly cloudy and 82 in Trenton, and Atlantic City reports in at 88 degrees. Chance of a shower tonight, a few scattered thunderstorms in some areas. Lows in the mid-60s to low 70s in northern and central regions, mid-70s in South Jersey. Very humid tomorrow. A little sun will peek through the clouds. Expected temperatures 75 to 85 north to south. Partly sunny with the chance of a shower on Friday. Highs into the high 80s will make it a very uncomfortable day. Here comes the sun on Saturday. It will be warm up to 90 degrees. Partly sunny on Sunday to close out the holiday weekend.
Coming up next, first in the Garden State, a home for homeless kittens.
And in sports, the Yanks try for 3 in a row in Toronto when we come back.
All right!
Why do 12 million Americans watch the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour?
I like it because it's the only show on television that everyone in my family takes seriously. And it's a relatively unbiased source of information and analysis on current events.
Robert McNeil, Jim Lehrer, the McNeil-Lehrer NewsHour.
Member dollars help bring it to you weeknights at 7:30. Tonight on 13. Something's afoot in Brooklyn.
I wanted to know if you could put a very joyful piece of sculpture in a space and change the atmosphere around it. So I'll find out.
Red Shoes step out at 8:30. Then at 9, the Democratic presidential candidates in a firing line special. And at 11, images of a day in the life of America. That's tonight on 13.
Pat has the night off. Richard Scott is here sitting in. Sweet revenge. 2 weeks ago, the Blue Jays swept the Yankees. Today, the Yanks returned the favor.
That's right. It was a sweet sweep in Toronto. 3 games, 3 wins for the Yankees at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto. The Yanks beat the Blue Jays 6-1 this afternoon, widening their first-place lead to 3 games in the AL East. A scoreless pitchers duel for 7 innings this afternoon. An intentional walk to Don Mattingly loaded the bases for the Yankees in the 8th. Starter Jimmy Key then gave up a single to Dave Winfield to finally put the Yankees on the board, scoring Wayne Tolleson for a 1-0 lead. But Toronto then came back and tied it in the bottom of the inning with Kelly Gruber's sacrifice fly scoring George Bell. That's where it stayed until the 12th inning when Wayne Tolleson's third base hit of the game scored Claudell Washington. The Yanks went on to score 5 runs in the inning. 6-1 the final. They open a 4-game set with Texas tomorrow. Sid Fernandez goes for win number 10 tonight as the Mets close out a 3-game series against St. Louis at Shea Stadium. The Mets moved to within 6.5 games of the Cardinals with last night's come-from-behind win. The Mets were scoreless through 6 innings thanks to some great defense. Terry Pendleton's pirouette move here robbed Howard Johnson of what looked to be a sure single. But Dwight Gooden kept the game close. 9 strikeouts on his way to Gooden's 5th win in 6 starts. The game tied at 2 in the 9th. Howard Johnson slashed a single to left, scoring Lenny Dykstra, snapping the Cardinals' 3-game win streak. Meanwhile, the Phillies play the Pirates again tonight at the Vet after beating the Bucks last night 6-4 for their 4th straight win, the team's longest winning streak so far this season. The Phillies came out smoking last night. Leadoff batter Juan Samuel smashed a Doug Drabek pitch 400 feet into the right field seats for his 12th home run of the season and an early Phillies lead. And after Milt Thompson doubled, Von Hayes then punched a triple into the gap in left as part of a 3-run first-inning outburst for the Phils. Pittsburgh closed it within 2 in the 9th. With the tying run at the plate, though, reliever Steve Bedrosian got Sid Bream to hit into a game-ending double play. Bedrock's 13th save in as many appearances, adding to his major league record and making new manager Lee Elia a very happy man. The Atlantic 10 announced today its 1988 postseason men's basketball tournament will be played at West Virginia University March 5th through 10th. It will mark the first time in 3 years all 9 tournament games are played in one arena. The league also disclosed today that ESPN has agreed to carry the Atlantic 10 final for the 3rd straight year. Wimbledon fans will get to witness the 73rd renewal of one of the greatest rivalries in tennis. Top seed Martina Navratilova and number 3 Chris Everett each won their quarterfinal matches today and will face each other in tomorrow's semis. The other quarterfinal winners today, Steffi Graf and Pam Shriver in women's play, Pat Cash, Yvonne Lendl, Stefan Edberg, and Jimmy Connors on the men's side. Connors followed up his amazing come-from-behind win yesterday with a straight-set victory today over Slobodan Zivojinovic. I love that name. Zivojinovic.
You'll be happy when Pat gets back to pronounce that one, I'll bet. Thank you, Rich. People probably love their families first. Then I'd guess they love their pets. But sometimes they lose them, or sometimes family crises dictate separation. In Morris County, many such orphaned pets end up at St. Hubert's Giralda. So today did Frank Tenzar.
Here's a tip. Such frolicsome felines could soon be yours. They're among the hundreds of kitties and full-grown cats that end up lost or abandoned. They are cared for here at St. Hubert's Giralda Animal Shelter in Madison. Geraldine Rockefeller Dodge endowed the place.
This is a Seal Point Siamese, probably a purebred. She came in as a stray. She's already been declawed, so she's probably spayed. And why anybody is looking for her, I don't know.
Now, this is also a Seal Point Siamese. Really pretty. And I imagine really affectionate, but right now, in front of the cameras, who knows? Anyway, she just wandered away 2 days ago and has been here ever since, and nobody's claimed her, and she could be yours if you would just come on down and say you loved her. She's supposed to be very easy to take care of, likes people, and I'm sure she just loved to see it.
See? If you come out here to St. Hubert's, they've got a little room where you can spend time with your potential pet. Ann and Bob Myers made their selection quickly.
You're going to have your hands full with this, I'll tell you.
We have plenty of room, though. Big house and lots of land, so she'll be fine.
Of course, not all cats are right for all people.
Hello, how are you? Would you like to go home with me? Would you? Well, maybe not.
See, there's already an Ed in my life. Does he look like he's in the mood for company? Frank Tenzar, New Jersey Network News, Madison.
Frank's Ed looked kind of comfy there at home.
I think he'd like to stay, too. That's all for tonight. I'm Phil Bremen.
And I'm Kent Manahan. From all of us here at New Jersey Network News, good night.